you so much. Before I present my slides, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I was supposed to be joined by our Community Impact Director, Yael Flores, which some of you may be familiar with as well. So he regrets not being here, but I'm excited that we get to connect and continue conversations even after this call. I also really appreciate your efforts, Latin19's Coalition, over the years, and regret that I have not been here more, but I do hope that I'm able to stay connected and be as present as possible moving forward. So again, thank you so much for the warm welcome. And I will be trying to speak slowly so that the interpreter gets everything, but feel free to pause me in the chat or go ahead and ask any questions at any time. I'm more than happy to pause and reflect with all of you. All right, let me see here. Okay. All right, can everyone see the slides? Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I love the participation. But yes, today I have a lot of great information for you, really just a broad view of our organization and our core programs. And I do have an exciting invitation for you all for our summit. So yeah, stay tuned. And at the end of this, I will drop the link for you to reference these slides. So no need to be taking notes, but again, just let me know if you have any questions throughout. All right. Well, before we really get into it, I do want to give us an opportunity to get to know each other. So feel free to use the chat if you will, and let us know a little bit about you as well. But given that I'm a bit new to you all, I'll tell you a bit about myself and what brought me to this work. So off the top, right? My name is Zamantha Granados. I am a child of Mexican American immigrants. I grew up in LA, Los Angeles, California, but have made North Carolina home since 2012. Really proud now to be living in Elon, North Carolina. So almost smack dab in the middle of the state in Alamance County. If you have anything in common with me, do please shout that out in the chat. But yeah, I'm very proud of my Latin American roots. Specifically, both of my parents grew up in Guerrero, Mexico. And I was lucky to have spent, part of my childhood there. Excuse me. Okay. But yeah, upon graduating high school in California, it was Duke University that brought me to North Carolina. So that is where I did my bachelor's in evolutionary anthropology. And I like to say that UNC Chapel Hill then kept me in North Carolina because I continued doing my master's in public health at the Gilling School at UNC. All of that was an incredible journey, and always happy to talk about that more with anyone and everyone. But I'll tell you today more about LatinxEd, which I was lucky to, sort of stumble upon soon after I finished my master's program. And sure enough, 3 years later, almost, I'm here serving as the partnerships manager or gerente de alianzas. I'll tell you, one of my favorite things about LatinxEd is that we are mostly bilingual, bicultural staff, a lot of first-generation students or alumni. And this journey is not just a professional one, right, but a very personal one. So I love that I get to impact, the communities, students and families who have very similar lived experiences to myself. But yeah, if you are playing along here in the chat, I'll make sure to engage and react soon enough. But I'll tell you, my high school was in, I guess, a suburban town from LA County. But I'm looking forward to hearing where y'all are tuning in from. Uh, as LatinxEd is a statewide organization, I have had the pleasure of traveling a lot through North Carolina. But yeah, always like to know, how we're building those bridges across the state. And throughout these slides, I will have some links for you or some social media handles. So if you're near your phone, feel free to go ahead and give us a follow so that you can stay connected and learn more throughout the year. All right. Okay. And now this is where we like to start when we tell, our community more about LatinxEd and what we stand for, but it's really our values. We like to think that we're a very, relational organization that is rooted in our cultural understanding, and our values tend to be how we communicate some of those traits, right, to other people in our network. The 5 core values, right, are amor, belonging, courage, dignity, and esperanza. So I hope that you see some of you in these values and that they give you a good taste of what we are all about. More than our values, right? This is who drives us. It is the people in our community. So we like to say that our Latinx leaders and our education advocates are who give us hope, and simultaneously who we seek to impact, right? So in combination, right, with Latino identifying folks and allies, we come together and really grow to see ourselves as education leaders. And that is really anyone, despite their title or position, right, who is really looking to open doors, illuminate pathways, and increase access to higher education and, career as they relate to education. So I'll show you now how we do that. And over the years, right, because we are a 5-year-old organization, our mission, our vision has been solidified, has been reimagined and refined. And most recently, we actually went through a little update, and this may be one of the first times that we're sharing our newest mission externally. So if you're up for it, feel free to give us some feedback, either in the chat or in a follow-up conversation. But we love that we really see ourselves in this, and it is a strong reflection of the kind of work that we do. So specifically, our mission at LatinxEd is to cultivate a statewide movement for greater Latina representation in the education field and equal access to higher education in North Carolina. So as you see, we're all about connecting folks and amplifying some of those key priorities so that together we can really move the needle, right? We recognize we're stronger when we do things together. So all in good faith, trying to unify and really increase the investment toward education, specifically for Latino learners and Latino leaders. But it really means a lot to us, and I'm excited that we get to share this with you and then open it up for conversation to see how you may be connected yourself to this movement. All right. Now, this is a pretty hefty slide, so I won't go through everything, but it's an important slide because it tells you our 3 core pillars or priorities strategically. This is really where we spend a lot of our time, right? We have about 10 full-time staff, and we tend to look at our work in this way and kind of divvy up responsibilities in this way. But let me know if you are familiar with some of these. or have participated in some of these programs. To start off, I'll talk a little bit about the fellowship, which that is our leadership advancement or professional development lane. We really try to, now we're working with over 100 fellows actually, try to design a program that not only empowers people to see themselves as education leaders, but also builds this community network so that they are more supported in their journey, right? So this is our lane where we try to focus on retaining leaders of color and overall helping them increase their impact. So you may have already noticed this on social media. We tend to do a lot of spotlights, a lot of publications, and all of that is an effort to kind of highlight, the best practices and the best leaders in the state to show that we are here and our work is really, causing waves and making improvements across the state. The second lane is related to college access. And if you're not a fellow and you work in an organization, this might be a great opportunity for partnerships. We do a lot of trainings, workshops, virtually and in person through this lane. But really, it's all focused on helping the people that I would say, I guess, are in the front lines, right? Directly serving our students, helping those counselors, right? Those advocates have the tools that they need to better do their work. So as much as we're able to gather information and share information as it relates to scholarships or culturally sustaining practices, all that good stuff. We love to get it in the hands of those folks who are doing that work. So anytime you're interested in doing a training related to post-secondary access for Latinos, adult learners, undocumented families, do feel free to reach out. And we're able to kind of curate something specifically for your school, workplace, or county, right? So it's been a pleasure really getting to grow this lane of the work and doing so with the support and expertise of all the people in our network over time. Let me check the chat for a second. Okay. Beautiful introductions. Thank you so much. But Viviana, if you see a question, please point it out because, I might miss it. But
Yeah.
all right.
So we can leave things at the end, or if you want, we can, if people start having questions during the talk, I can let you know. I haven't seen a hand yet or a comment.
Okay.
But
Well,
if you're inviting for people to interrupt you, it's great for everybody to know. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes, this next and last piece, right, is about our summit. So it is our annual conference where we've typically sold out and brought people from over 45 different counties, about 300 folks at a time, to come together, learn from one another, and amplify some of those, tried and true practices that have worked for them in this work and in this journey. I'm super excited this year. I get to be a little closer to the summit program team and be connected to our storytellers, we like to call them, but essentially our content experts, our speakers. But as you know, our culture is a culture of oradores, right? Storytellers. And a lot of the times we understand that data, numbers, and statistics aren't the full picture. And so we love bringing those like personal, colorful lived experiences to the stage for our North Carolina community to really understand both the challenges and the opportunities that Latinos face in North Carolina to access higher ed and all that stuff. But yeah, this hopefully paints a good picture of what we're busy doing at LatinxEd. But there's a lot more information. So I do hope that we get to have many follow-up conversations and see how we can come together to create something truly meaningful for your community. All right. I'll just point out here that if you do want to stay connected and, be the first to know when a new program or opportunity to partner does come up, our newsletter is our go-to spot. So we do have a bilingual website, right? So depending on your preference, feel free to go in and sign up. I'll also share, we do have a newsletter that we're, rolling out that's specifically for counselors, academic and career counselors. So if that's you, let me know and I can add you to that newsletter directly. Okay. If you all participated in the Somos NC statewide listening tour, this map may be familiar, but it's broken down in North Carolina's prosperity zones, if that is familiar to you all. But it just goes to show, North Carolina has all these hubs, and really we're more interconnected than we may think. But it's been wonderful to be able to now say we're close to having a fellow or a representative or someone connected to LatinxEd in one shape or form, in maybe half of these counties, right? So if you're in one of these counties, right, and haven't heard about us, do invite us. We're up for traveling and would just love to get to know one another better. Okay. Now, I do want to get to like questions and stuff soon, but I did want to point out two publications that we have that you can download on our website and have really great information. I can't tell you how much it means to me when people say, hey, I printed your report out and I shared it with my staff and we felt seen, or you've said things that we've been saying for ages now, right? So really, I do hope you get to read it and share it. And it's available again in English and in Spanish. So definitely a labor of love. But an important gift to ourselves and to the community. So the first was the Somos NC statewide listening tour report, which is a bit lengthy, as you see, maybe 36 pages. And it really served to kind of build our strategic plan, sort of by chance, but it shared, people's concerns, and then we tried to anchor our programs to really address those concerns. And we spoke to all of our stakeholders, right? So you may see yourself represented in some of those voices, right? Whether or not you're connected to the education system specifically. And this one just came out last year. So we do try to do one every year and then use the summit, right, the conference, to be an opportunity to digest it and have dialogue around it together. So this is really what we'll be spotlighting in September come the summit this year. And this one was specifically about what Latinx leaders need to thrive, right? Not just to enter, but really find success, achievement in the education system. So it was wonderful, right? We do a lot of not only quantitative research, but qualitative research, the interviews and focus groups, and do our best to kind of visualize those stories, those findings for you all. Okay. I'm thinking maybe I do want to pause here for questions, actually, because these next pieces I'm just going to be like, come to the summit. So I'll give myself a breather and encourage you all to ask any questions so far about those key things that I just shared.